Welcome to this explainer on the high-stakes world of offshore commercial contracts. We all know you can have the absolute best engineers and the most efficient yards on the planet, but honestly, technical excellence doesn't protect your balance sheet. The contract does. So today, we're diving right into exactly where the risk sits. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine two identical projects, and I mean literally identical. Same scope, same yard, exact same people, yet at the end of the day, one makes a totally healthy, robust margin, while the other loses $90 million. $90 million. So how on earth does that happen? Well, the difference isn't the execution. It's actually all about which side of the scale the risk was sitting on the very day that contract was signed. You can execute a project flawlessly, but if the foundation of your agreement is fundamentally flawed, you're basically steering a sinking ship. Okay. 3 contract models and 1 core question. Who carries the risk? Let's break them down. Model 1 is lump sum turnkey, or LSTK. Under LSTK, that heavy block of risk sits entirely on the contractor's shoulders. The price is fixed, the scope is fixed, and every single cost overrun comes directly out of your margin, which is exactly why LSTK is only safe when you have excellent, mature project definition. Sign an LSTK against an immature scope, and you haven't won a contract. You've essentially just bought an unquantified liability to fix price. Moving on to Model 2, Reimbursable. Here, the entire dynamic flips. You can watch that heavy block of risk slide all the way over to the owner's side of the scale. Costs are paid as they're incurred. This means the owner totally loses cost predictability, but in return, they buy enormous flexibility. They can change their mind, develop the scope as they go, and respond directly to what the reservoir is actually telling them. They're trading cost certainty for absolute freedom. And this brilliantly illustrates the 2 massive extremes we're dealing with. On one hand, the contractor gambles on an unquantified liability in LSTK if the scope isn't mature. On the other, the owner trades away all their cost certainty for freedom in a reimbursable setup. Both absolutely have their place, but the gap between them is huge, right? And honestly, often neither party wants to take on that extreme level of pure risk. Which brings us to Model 3, Convertible LSTK, the intelligent bridge. This model acts as a bridge between those 2 extremes, designed specifically to protect both the owner and the contractor. You start off with a competitive feed that's front-end engineering design. Running it competitively gives the owner real options. Then, you allow the scope to genuinely mature, and only after the design is crystal clear do you convert it to a firm price definition. So the crucial point of the convertible model, and honestly, this is a rule you should probably write down, is this. Do not fix the price until you can explicitly define the scope. The whole structural design of this model hinges entirely on that one strict rule. Think of it like renovating an old house. Imagine a builder who quotes you a fixed price without ever looking behind the drywall. That builder is either going to lose a ton of money when they eventually find bad wiring, or they've padded their quote so heavily that you, the owner, are massively overpaying. The smart move? Open the wall first, see what's actually there, and then quote. Running that initial feed competition is the exact equivalent of opening that wall. It lets everyone see the wires, the pipes, the structural realities before the final fixed quote is locked in. It completely eliminates the guesswork. Now, let's talk about the 40% definition trap. Let's apply these models to a high-stakes, real-world scenario. A client comes to you and offers a lump sum turnkey contract. It's a massive project, but the catch is the scope is only 40% defined, meaning 60% of it is essentially a total guess. Do you accept the job? You absolutely do not take it as a straight LSTK. Doing so is pure gambling, plain and simple. You must either insist on making it a convertible contract, where you do the feed first and price later, or you have to explicitly and visibly price that massive uncertainty into your bid. Now, if you price the risk properly, yeah, you might lose the tender to a competitor who was foolish enough not to price it in. But remember this, losing a bad tender is a result. Winning one, that is how firms disappear overnight. You started this explainer knowing how to execute a project technically, but now you have the ability to clearly read exactly where the financial risk sits before execution even begins. You know when LSTK works, when reimbursable makes sense, and why conversible is the ultimate safety net for both sides. So the only question remaining for you as a leader is this. When the pressure is on and a massive deal is sitting right there on the table, will you have the courage to use this knowledge to walk away? Will you say no to a contract model when the scales of risk are irreversibly tipped against you? Just keep that in mind the next time you sit down at the negotiating table.